Hello, this is Louis Zayed from Aleph Arabic Online. This is part two of Surat An-Nasr. So, part one is already uploaded on YouTube, starting from the end of verse one, where we left off from the last part. So, looking at the word fath. So, fath, it means conquest, victory, or triumph. So, the verse is إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح. So, this is the word we're looking at. Al-Fattah, it means it's one of Allah's names. He is the opener, i.e., of the gates of mercy, of sustenance, etc. Futha, it means opening or an aperture or a gap. Okay, so they're all derived from the root letters, which all Arabic words derive from root letters, and the root letters are fa, ta, and ha. So futha means gap, and they're all related via the same root. Okay, so if we look at other derivatives using the same root letters of fa, ta, and ha, there are other related words such as miftah, which is key, the plural of which is mafatih. And if a shop is open, for example, open for business, it's maftuh. And if you want to talk about an opening ceremony for a shop or some kind of any organization, it's iftitah. Iftitah means like an opening of a launching of something. So haflatul iftitah means opening ceremony or the opening party. So iftitah is the word, which is for launching something or opening or in opening something. So you can see all of the orange highlighted letters. They are the root letters of this word, which are all fa, ta, and ha. And this is how Arabic works basically. When you know the root letters and the meaning roughly of the root letters, you can kind of guess the meanings of any deriving words, which is pretty cool. Okay, so in the next verse, وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسِ. So the exact translation is and you saw the people, and you saw the people. So ra'aita is actually, you can see it highlighted with a red circle on the right. Ra'aita is you saw, you speaking to a man. Okay, and you can see all the other derivatives like he saw, she saw, you, I, they in the past and also in the present. You can see the derivatives. But what I wanted to show you here is that by adding the orange kind of suffixes, you can see, and in some cases in the present, you can see in the present there's the prefixes as well, all of them in orange on the screen. This is basically showing you who's speaking, or who did the thing, So it's the same through all the verbs. You add the same suffixes, prefixes to denote who is it, he or she or you or they or we, and etc. And we're going to look at that in a second in more detail. This particular one is ra'aita. Ra'aita is you saw, talking about a masculine form. Okay, so if it was ra'aiti, that would be for a female form. If you said ra'aitu, that means I saw. We're going to look at it in more detail in the next slide. Okay, so there's another verb in this verse as well. So وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ. يَدْخُلُونَ means, you can see it with an arrow on the left. يَدْخُلُوا, يَدْخُلُونَ. يَدْخُلُونَ means they enter in the present tense. So you're taking the root letters, which is dal, kha, and lam, and you're adding a ya in front of it, a prefix, and you're adding a waw and an alif, or in Qur'anic Arabic adding a noon, and it's making it into a present tense, they. Okay, so again, this is how verbs work. You're adding prefixes and suffixes which donate who's doing the action. So it's standard throughout all the verbs, which is pretty cool. Once you learn these prefixes, suffixes through any good grammar book, you can see that it's standardized, and I'm going to show you that in the next slide. So we've just looked at two verbs. We looked at ra'a, which is he saw. Okay, and usually when you talk about a verb, just generally speaking about a verb, usually you talk about it in the he did something tense. So ra'a, he saw, and dakhala, he entered. Okay, and another verb, I've just chosen it just to show you something, is qama. Qama means he rose or he stood up. Okay, so when you want to say that she rose or she entered or she saw something, you just add a ta at the end, so it becomes instead of saying ra'a, it becomes ra'at, which is she saw. She entered. Instead of saying dakhala, you say dakhalat. She entered. If you want to say she rose, instead of saying qama, you say qamat. Okay. Um, Again, it's adding the same suffix at the end, which denotes she did something. We're talking about the past now. Um, and if you look at the very the bottom of the list, if you look at ra'aytu circled with a red arrow, a red circle, ra'aytu, I saw. If you want to say I entered, dakhaltu, dakhaltu, and if you want to say I rose, it's qumtu. So again, the tu at the end is signaling that I did something, and ra'aytu, I saw, dakhaltu, I entered, qumtu, I stood up. Okay, so without focusing too much on the verb qama, which is to rise, you might notice that in the derivatives of this verb, the alif disappears. Like when you say I rose, qumtu, where's the alif? So there are certain letters like alif and waw and ya, which I think they call them hollow letters. They disappear in some derivatives, So let's not worry about that too much now. But just to let you know, they kind of disappear sometimes. That's what makes them a little bit tricky. Also, anything with an alif and a hamza, like ra'a, he saw. Anything with an alif and a hamza can also be a little bit tricky. Um, so we saw in the verse it says wara'aita, wara'aita. So in the street, you would never really hear anybody say ra'aitu, ra'ait, ra'aita, ra'a. They don't use this verb colloquially. What they usually use, especially in the Levantine region, is Yeshuf, shaf. Shaf means he saw, shaf. So if you want to say like the thief pictured here, he's stolen something and he said, had shafni, had shafni. Okay, did anybody see me? So instead of saying had ra'ani, he said had shafni, which did anybody see me? And the policeman, he said, shuftak, shuftak. He said shuftak. Instead of saying ra'aituka, he said shuftak. Okay, and this verb shaf, shufit, yishuf, is similar to the verb qam. You can see it has an alif in it. That's why in certain derivatives you lose the alif. But just to kind of focus on the point that ra'a is not really used colloquially too much. You'll hear like ana shufit, I saw shafni, he saw me, ana shayif, I see, ashuf, yani khalini ashuf, let me see. This is more colloquial. Okay, shufi to a lady, like have a look, basically. So we'll come across this more in other verbs, other verses. So let's move on. So what do we have here? So we have some nice nouns in this verse as well. So we have nas, wara'aita nas. So nas, it means people, or in this case, kind of mankind. You'll hear generally in the street people saying nas, like wayn and nas, shaif and nas, like the people, talking about people in general. Fi, it says وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ fi دِينِ اللَّهِ. So fi means in, basically. Simple translation, it's in something. Deen means religion, and whenever you learn a noun, it's always good to learn the plural with it. So deen, the plural is adyan, deen, adyan. Okay. Fauj. Okay, it's I wouldn't say it's the most common word on the planet colloquially, but you hear it. Fauj. It means like a group or crowd. Afwaj, crowds. Okay, as I said, not the most popular word in the planet, but afwajan, afwajan. It means in droves. Okay, so a common word you'll hear on the street to do with deen. For example, if you want to say somebody is religious, you can say huwa mutadayyin. 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 It has the same root letters as deen, da, ya, nun. And mutadayyin, it means religious. So if you want to say for a lady, hiya mutadayyina, it has a tamabuta at the end. Okay, so it's huwa mutadayyin, hiya mutadayyina, hum, people, like they, hum mutadayyinin. Okay, they're all religious. Let's see what else we have. So on the last verse here, there's some kind of pronouns which I wanted to focus on. So, for example, when it says Rabbik, Rabbika, Rabbika, so basically the word is Rabb, Rabb, which means like Lord. sustain, nourish, etc., relating to Allah, of course. The ka at the end is like a possessive pronoun, so it's saying your Lord, like putting the ka on the end with a fatha. It means your Lord. Okay, if it was with a kasra and it's like like ki at the end, yeah, rabbiki or rabbuki, it'd be like your Lord speaking to a female. Again, Arabic has a lot of prefixes, suffixes which donate in verbs. Who said what? Who's doing what? And also with pronouns and the like, nouns and stuff. It's like possessive or pronouns denoting who it's talking about. So who's the owner of, who's the subject, who's the object, and likewise. So your Lord, Rabbika, and wastaghfirhu. So you're seeking His forgiveness. So again, the who at the end is referring to Allah, who, and innahu, the same thing, for certainly He, innahu. We're going to look at it on the next slide, but again, just showing you the concept of suffixes here denoting subjects and objects and possessives. So, for example, if you're talking about a house and you want to say like his house, house is bait. Okay, there's another word dar, but let's talk about bait. There's two words for house. So bait, baitu, in the colloquial Arabic. So baitu or baitihi, you know. But the ha at the end is his, his house. Baitiha or baitha, the ha means her house. If you want to say baitak or baituka, baitak, this is your house, talking to a man. If you want to say baitik in colloquial Arabic, or baituki or baitik, there's baitak and there's baitik. Anyway, one has the fatha, the last one has the kasra. So you're talking about a lady, it's your house, talking to a lady. Bait him or baituhum is their house. So again, the home donates something that is theirs. So beit home, beitna or beituna. So na donates like ours. It's our house. So it all comes from beituhu. So huwa is he. Beitiha, which is here, she. Beituka, beitak is like is something with for you, for a male, talking directly one to one. Beituki, beitik is a lady. Beit home comes from they, their house. Beitna comes from like nahnu, which is our house. So this is again just to give you the spin on how prefixes and suffixes are used, even in nouns, to denote objects, subjects, and also possessives. So thank you so much. This is part two of Surat An-Nasr, and we shall move on in future recordings on the next chapters, inshallah. Thank you so much.